I just want to do a follow up review on the Sakwa X8, which is a much thinner than average minimalist running shoe that's a crossbreed between a minimalist shoe and a sock. I've had the X8s for well over a year. They've been through lots, as you can probably tell. I've rocked up tons of kilometers running and walking in these shoes. I run about 18 kilometers to 21 kilometers a day, predominantly on the roads, sometimes the trails, as well as grass. In the winter, however, if the snow is too deep, I run at the indoor track. Based on my use of the Sakwa X8 in these running conditions, out of all the barefoot mimicking minimalist running shoes I've tried, the Sakwa X8 is one of the most weather versatile in that they've excelled at keeping my feet pretty cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And more impressively, despite the shoe's thinness, the structural integrity of the Sakwa X8 has outlasted by a long shot compared to other barefoot influence minimalist running shoes. Despite appearing very flimsy, despite being constructed with very, very few materials, the fabrics, including the rubber outsole of the Sakwa X8, are impressively durable. Sakwa really hit it out of the park in their formulation of constructing a paper thin running shoe that's highly durable and long lasting. In my honest opinion, it's really the long lasting durability that fundamentally sets the Sakwa X8 apart from most barefoot inspired running shoes. My Sakwa X8s have been through a lot, but their days are really far from numbered. As you can tell, they show very minimal signs, almost zero signs of wear and tear. They are still going strong. That's why I put the Sakwa X8 at the top of my list of highly recommended minimalist running shoes, especially for those looking for a close approximated substitute to barefoot running. Again, because the Sakwa X8 are built to last, even after being exposed to harsh winter elements, the heat, sunlight, humidity, the materials of the Sakwa X8 seems to be much more stable and dynamic than most barefoot style shoes in its class. So what additionally makes the Sakwa X8 so appealing? What else is the shoe good for? Because the Sakwa X8 is incredibly low to the ground, it's zero drop, has non-existent cushioning, which collectively gives the shoe its ample flexibility, its nimble nature and agility, as well as its feather light weight. The X8 is definitely ideal for those transitioning to more minimalistic shoe models or even barefoot running. If you prefer not to run barefoot, the Sakwa X8 is ideal for speed work on smooth surfaces, on grass, or the beach. The X8s would also be great as an occasional track shoe. They are also ideal for 5K road races, even racing distances up to the marathon, or even ultra marathons on any terrain. The Sakwa X8 is also great for the gym, including weightlifting, CrossFit. They're also great for hiking, walking, beach sports, pretty much anything except for maybe obstacle course races such as Spartan and Tough Mudders, to which I don't compete in OCRs, so I really can't comment on how well the X8s would perform in those events. But last but not least, the Sakwa X8 is, of course, perfect for everyday wear, but overall, the use and practicalities of the Sakwa X8 ultimately depends on what you prefer in terms of underfoot feel in a running shoe. If you love crystal clear ground feel, if you don't mind feeling every single specific aspect of the ground, including every little pebble, every little twig, also including the temperature of the ground, that's how thin the outsole of the Sakwa X8 is. You can literally feel the coldness or the warmth of the ground. If you like to feel almost barefoot, the Sakwa X8 is the perfect candidate for you. The Sakwa X8 virtually has no underfoot padding. It's literally just a thin 2 millimeter sliver of soft, pliable rubber that delivers probably the highest sensory resolution you're going to get from a rubber outsole. No doubt the Sakwa X8 will more than meet your sensory needs and exceed your barefoot minimalistic expectations if that's what you prefer. Now, in contrast, if you prefer a little underfoot cushioning or if you prefer a lot of underfoot cushioning, if you don't want to feel the pebbly, stony, littered terrain beneath your feet, the Sakwa X8 is not for you. But again, if you want to feel as close to being barefoot as possible without actually having to go barefoot, the Sakwa X8 is definitely on your side. I just really wanted to drill that point home. In looking at the upper of the Sakwa X8, it's essentially a one-piece upper that's soft and light, that fits a little up the ankle, but not too tight, but securely enough to prevent debris from flying in. Inside the shoe, it's pretty much seamless to prevent irritation and blistering. As you can tell, the upper is not the most fanciest design. Sakwa kept it pretty simple, but really, who cares? Because when it comes to developing and upholding strong feet, better balance, stability, and improving running form, function trumps fashion. In this case, the upper design of the Sakwa X8 is a take from a water sock and is resilient. It wraps to your foot like a wetsuit and is built to handle a lot of miles despite how thin it is. Sakwa really definitely threw in lots of durability and rip resistance into the upper without compromising flexibility or weight. Most importantly, credit of the unmatched flexibility of the upper goes to the lack of external support or reinforcements, to which no external support in a shoe is most often a better way to build more functionally strong, resilient, more tolerant feet, because all sectors of the foot are engaged, enabling the foot to function independently, stimulating the growth of a stronger foot. Therefore, like a true barefoot styled running shoe, the Sakwa X8 lets your feet stay powered up in muscular engagement, which over time will produce a stronger foot and stronger, more responsive arches, as well as stronger ankles, which may help bring results that's good for injury prevention. There's obviously no straps or laces to the X8's upper, which really gives you a nice ease of entry. The upper isn't bogged down with unnecessary overlays or plastic materials, which offers up more flexibility and lightness, enabling you to feel more agile and efficient. The upper is also really stretchy and adaptable across the entire foot, so it's unlikely that you'll have any serious fitting problems. At the front of the shoe, it doesn't feel boxy because the forefoot widens and follows the curvature of the front of the foot, allowing for plenty of wiggle room for toe splay, toe flexion, and easily allowing for forefoot expansion, which are essential for helping you levy better balance control. When your feet, especially your toes, can operate more freer, when they can participate more fully as they do in the Sakwa X8, you always seem to do better. Everything seems to benefit in that it keeps the toes functionally strong and your balance more steadied, which in turn might help protect you from ankle injury, especially during running on uneven surfaces. Another impressive benefit of the Sakwa X8 upper is that it's made of an Airpreme foam material that's breathable yet thermal, offering outstanding comfort in any weather condition, at least with my experience anyway. When paired with socks, the upper of the X8 does a great job at sealing your feet away from the cold. It keeps your toes pretty warm during really cold, frigid, wintry conditions. During the summer, the upper provides enough airflow, keeping your feet from cooking in the heat. I also want to mention that you can definitely wear the Sakwa X8s without socks because the inside of the shoe is lined with plenty of soft, seamless materials that feel really smooth on your feet, so you won't get any hot spots or blisters. And also, internally, the shoe is made of moisture-wicking fabric that has anti-odor properties. Ultimately, compared to other barefoot-like minimalist running shoes, the Sakwa X8's unstructured upper is really one of the hallmarks of the shoe's great construction, and that the upper thermally fortifies your foot during the winter and also does a great job at keeping your feet cool in the summer. But I really appreciate that the moisture-wicking lining helps keep the feet fresh and comfortable in hotter temperatures. One of the reasons the Sakwa X8 is so prized among minimalist shoe wear testers, including myself, is its 2 millimeter thin rubber outsole, which is literally the thinnest slab of rubber you can possibly get in a minimalist running shoe, because the outsole is also built to handle a lot of miles and can really stand up to long distance running without the rubberized material degrading as fast as it so often does in many other thin sole barefoot style running shoes. The X8's outsole also equipped with traction features to help keep your feet grippy on slippery surfaces during running and walking. It does provide pretty good traction when running on icy surfaces and snow, at least with my experience. That's because the outsole is constructed with a slip-resistant rubberized tread pattern. As you can tell, the outsole of the Sakwa X8 is zero drop, meaning the sole is completely flat. The outsole is thinner, more flexible, more soft than most of Vibram five-finger models. Most importantly, the X8's outsole isn't loaded down with EVA foam, gels, plastic plates, or foot stabilizing features that drain away foot strength, but rather the X8's outsole is a thin sliver of supremely flexible rubber, allowing the entire shoe to easily roll up into a ball, and really does a great job at lining the bottom of your foot and provides a very light, zippy feel while being protective enough to prevent your underfoot from blistering or tearing when running on any terrain. I also want to mention that the Sakwa X8 doesn't come with a removable outsole, and that's to keep the shoe as minimalistic as possible. This is actually what the Sakwa X8 is designed for, was to reflect the barefoot condition in efforts to prompt more appropriate uses of the foot, especially a forefoot strike during running. So not only will the shoe help you build up more internal strength in the foot-ankle complex, but also helps get your forefoot strike running mechanics more lined up so that the net effect is less pounding with the foot on the ground, which makes you well on your way to potentially avoiding impact-related injuries. Last but not least, how does the Sakwa X8 compare to other minimalist running shoes? Along the minimalist running shoe spectrum, in terms of thinness and ground feel, the Sakwa X8 falls along the same line as the Skinners and the Free Your Feet minimalist running socks, which are, in my opinion, the most barefoot mimicking thinnest forms of minimalist footwear out there. And the Sakwa X8s are just as low to the ground as the Free Your Feet and the Skinners. I've done video reviews on the Skinners and the Free Your Feet's running socks. They're linked down below in the description box. But actually, the Sakwa X8s provide just a tad more underfoot protection than the Skinners and the Free Your Feet's. Furthermore, the Sakwa X8 is definitely thinner, more lightweight, more warm, provides more ground feel than most thin Vibram five-finger models. Overall, compared to most minimalist running shoes, the upper, coupled with the outsole of the Sakwa X8, gives a second skin feel, which is the feel that's hard to come by in many minimalist running shoes. Ultimately, the Sakwa X8 is a great match for the barefoot crowd because the shoe excels at delivering a very similar sensory experience to the barefoot condition, making the X8s one of the best alternatives to running barefoot. The sensory input you get from the X8 is an excellent catalyst in helping you coordinate a lighter, more responsive forefoot strike landing pattern during running. Again, the X8's outsole is very durable for high mileage and for any weather condition. Whether you go fast or slow, this versatile minimalist shoe sock can handle whatever workout you're doing. I absolutely love the simplicity of the X8's design, and I really appreciate the smooth one-piece upper and how it's totally unstructured. Same with the outsole, which is going to help deliver more agility, helping improve your balance control, which is going to come in handy for prompting more solid footing on uneven terrain. But most importantly, and I really can't emphasize this enough, if you want a running shoe that captures large volumes of sensory feedback, you really can't go wrong with the Sakwa X8s. The Sakwa X8 certainly won't disappoint you in that department. I hope you've enjoyed this review. For more reviews on minimalist running shoes, can do so for forefoot running. Please hit the subscribe button down below, where you will also stay up to date on the latest research regarding the health benefits of barefoot running. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have fun out there on the roads and trails. Bye for now.